Hello, all my party people, my wonderful, my beautiful broskies and broskas of the Maverick Nation. Just now, I believe, 4 years. Wait, cotton picking man. Wait here. 2018. Wait, it's 3. 82. 8. Technically, that's not even a year on YouTube. That's just like my first thing. So, but still, I guess it counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's 5 years actually I've been on YouTube. Because if we're technically starting out from the first year that it says, whenever it goes to your About page, it says I joined 2018, so I think that's technically 5 years. So I'm gonna put 5 years, and later on, if my dad corrects me, because he's probably gonna be coming back, he should be coming back anytime soon. He's left to do some stuff. So basically now, I thought it was going to be 4 years special, but now that I'm doing the math, I think it might be actually be 5 years. I guess just depends on how you look at things. But then again, I guess 5 years does sound better. So I guess until proven otherwise, my 5-year YouTube anniversary, the 5-year anniversary of the Maverick Nation. Not only the 5-year anniversary of me being on YouTube, well, for this channel at least, I've been on YouTube for actually a lot longer because I had 2 other channels. I just forgot how to get onto those 2 other channels, which is why this third one was even made. Anyways, whatever. Basically, if you're only counting this channel, my 5 years on YouTube, if you're only counting this channel. So yeah, not only the 5 years of me, if you're only counting this channel, but 5 years of the Maverick Nation being in existence. 5 years of proud numbers rising. We may only be in the hundreds now, but I expect that we will grow. And don't you guys forget, every time a year passes by, I'm gonna doing another freaking anniversary video. I guess not that, but like, this is 5 years. Probably whenever it's 10 years, I'll do a 10-year anniversary. It's 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, I think that's more sound. Because that's kind of what they teach you in, like, school. Like, the whole, like, pattern thing with, like, 5, 10, 15, 20. Like, going in a pattern of some sorts. So I guess, yeah. 5 years of the D.S.M nation. Now that is just... I never thought that I would be able to see the day where it's like, one day you're just being yourself, setting up your own channel after losing your information on your other two channels, hoping to God you don't have the same problem with the third channel that you're setting up. It's not even you, it's your sister doing most of the damn work, but, that's what she's good for. Good for other things as well, but, at the time, that's what she was good for at the time. And I have two sisters, so you guys gotta guess which one. Even though you don't even know their damn names. Oh god, I'm being cruel. Anyways, I'm here to make up for it, I guess, and also, I guess, give myself and you guys a pat on the back. My subscribers, and the people that like my videos, give you guys a pat on the back, because even those that take the liberty of watching my videos, even if you don't exactly like them, pat all of you guys on the back, because, even, clicking on the video, you're helping me in a way, I guess you could say. Freaking rhyming. I'm not Dr. Seuss. But, you're still, kind of supporting me. Damn it, Sonic Adventure 2. Never this. Anyways, basically, want something special I can do for my 5-year anniversary video for how long I've been on YouTube concerning only this channel. Considering if you consider all 3 of my channels, I've actually been on YouTube for a lot longer. I think my earliest was 2012. But that's if you consider all of my channels, all 3 of them. But we're not here to do that, because those other 2 were kind of testing the waters of what I was good at the time. Plus, I wasn't nearly as experienced as I am now with the do's and don'ts of how things work. And plus, I was even more of a terrible voice actor than I am now. Back then, it was almost like I wasn't even trying. And good God, it just gets worse and worse. There's a reason why I tried to leave comments on my videos to just, leave my opinion of how god-awful they were. Anyways, we're not here to focus on my follies, we're here to focus on the closest thing to non-folly that I've actually had in my entire time on YouTube. That being my 3rd channel, and my 3rd channel being my newest channel. And also my current channel. 5 years, baby! 5 freaking years! And now the subject of said 5 years freaking special. Guys, sometimes I let things overlap from video to video. For example, the Tatsumaki what if, I said, each new part was kind of going to be a crossover. The Tatsumaki what if with another what if. If I can find a way to do that. You've already seen, if you guys are avid watchers of my shit, you will probably have already seen, I believe parts 4 and 5 were crossovers. and you will know the weirdness of crossover what ifs. This is a crossover what if in the way of this character I'm already using, currently in a different what if. But I didn't want this character just be like this one trick pony. I want this character to be a jack of all trades, in which, just like any other what if character I would want, like possibly want to do, like a jack of all trades, like more than one purpose use, like serve more than one purpose. Like, not just being one what if, but in multiple what ifs, like, as a different character for each one, or possibly, like, a similar character in, like, one or two, but not completely similar. Like, you guys catch my drift? A jack of all trades character, like, multiple purpose. It could be one thing in one what if, and it can be another thing in another what if. And the other what if, he was a Jonin sensei. And this what if, oh, you'll just have to see for yourself. Oh, this has got to be fun. Also, there's also a crossover, not just in between what ifs, but a crossover in between animes. Not just Naruto, but an actual Naruto / One Piece crossover. Yes, it's a Naruto One Piece crossover. And why is the freaking thumbnail a picture of Itachi looking badass as ever? If you knew the character from the other what if, you should at least know part of the reason why. Basically, the character that I'm talking about, that I'm basically using from the other what if being what if Naruto MHA. Basically, another crossover what if. Basically, putting it from one crossover what if to a different crossover what if. And having him in a different role for both, like, what ifs. Like, one what if he'd be like Jonin Sensei, and he has a different role in this what if. He's not a Jonin Sensei, but he's something else. And also, I'm basically going to treat this like there's two different sides of the world. Like, it's kind of like split like the equator. One side is like the entire like Naruto map, and the other side is like the entire One Piece map. So it's like they're on two different completely sides of the world, which is why they wouldn't know about each other all that much. Except for like a few exceptions. This is gonna be fun, actually. This is gonna be really freaking fun. And for this to not only be a 5-year anniversary, but a New Year's basically anniversary. But technically, a new year basically being my 5th year. So technically, I don't really need to add that. It's just it's just another year, so just put 5 years. So, and fix it in the future if I'm wrong on my math. So, yeah. Anyways, let's do this, baby. Let's make it groovy, baby. Basically, this is going to be what if What if Naruto went with mikiru? I'm not gonna say where in the title, but since, it's a One Piece crossover, I think you guys might know where. At least a rough guesstimate of possibly where they could have gone. Like East Blue, North Blue, South Blue, West Blue, one of the blues. Basically, what if Naruto actually, what if mikiru adopted Naruto? Yes, really, considering how the story's going to turn out, that actually sounds good. What if mikiru adopted Naruto? Seeing as the difference in age is actually going to be apparent as well. Like, mikiru and Naruto are going to be at different ages as well for the story. Basically, what if mikiru adopted Naruto? Part 1. What if mikiru adopted Naruto? YouTube 5 years anniversary special. Part 1. And we start off part 1 basically with what usually happens on Naruto's birthday, because it is Naruto's birthday. Basically, the usual mob thing. Mobs doing what mobs do best, especially angry mobs. But instead of like angry mobs chasing Frankenstein, they're chasing a little boy. And basically, Naruto is this little boy. And just as Naruto is basically thinking he is going to freaking die, because the mobs just seem to get bigger and bigger, and he just seems to get closer and closer to death, like near-death experiences, the more times he gets put in the hospital. So, the more years pass by that he continues to live, the more years pass by that he gets these near-death experiences where he begins to realize that the more times this happens, the closer and closer he gets to death. To the point where he really will die one day that this happens. Naruto is actually beginning to think that since this is like his 10th birthday, yeah, he's like 10, that's literally like, he started getting these warnings around the time that he was like turning 5, like about to turn 5. This is when he's, started getting these warnings. And so it's been that long that he's kind of had to deal with this. So Naruto's beginning to think, this is it. This is like 5 years of me getting these warnings, like me getting these premonition type things. I'm going to die today. I am dead. And so basically Naruto just resigns himself and doesn't bother to fight back. That is until one of the villagers, basically the leader of the angry mob, gets a spear of what's to be looks like some sort of green rock straight through his throat. A literal spear of that shit. And it's like pure ore. Because Naruto actually crawls over to inspect it. And he literally, he aims at it's freaking emerald. Like, the properties are all out of whack, but there's no escaping the facts. It's emerald. This guy just got lodged through his throat and out the other end. Like, halfway. It's stuck in there. And then, like, the emerald just flies backwards. And then basically Naruto just sees his hand. And basically he just sees the emerald fly back into the guy's hand. As he, like, calls it back. Like, almost with his iron will. And basically, Naruto realizes that with the guy's other hand, he was basically holding the hand sign. Which basically tells Naruto, he connects the dots. This guy was the guy who fired the freaking emerald spear that just skewered the guy's neck, the leader of the freaking angry mob. Or at least what Naruto assumed like the leader of the angry mob was. Basically, seeing as the entire mob is stupid, they basically try to, attack. Basically, and unprovoked, basically, only really provoked by the fact that these people are this damn stupid, and that would actually try to attack a child, regardless of the circumstances. It's just a little kid. Especially considering that this person can sense why they probably want to attack this child. Because they believe that they are what's actually inside of them. They can't seem to tell the difference. Basically, in their grieving, they can't seem to tell the difference between this person being the container and this person actually being the thing that it's containing, or that they're containing. And, this person that just saved Naruto's, ass, for a few seconds, is just like, damn, you guys are stupid. And then he's just like, and then it's just like, it's almost like him breathing just blew back the entire angry mob. And Naruto basically goes over to inspect the bodies, even though he knows this is actually kind of risky, considering one of them might actually be, conscious, and just trying to prank him, just so they can get close enough to kill him. And that's whenever, basically, he just hears, "Nah, kid, they're all pretty much gone. The emerald haze that I use, strong enough to kill a man. A man the size of a damn grown elephant, at that." And Naruto basically like, whoa, people can get that freaking big? And basically, this person would be like, you ever heard of a giant, kid? And then Naruto would begin to realize, this guy is basically freaking flying. How the hell is he doing that? And basically this person realizing that Naruto just figured out that they were flying, basically drops to, ground level. And even kneels down so he's eye to eye with Naruto. And basically, tells him that it's gonna be alright, that he's actually been sort of a guardian angel over him. Because, basically, anytime that this ever happened, even though he hasn't ever really stepped in to save him, he's always, never really done that because he knows that Kurama can fix any injury that he has. And Naruto's basically weirded out because he's like, who the hell is Kurama? And basically, this guy's like, That's the real name of the fox, kid. The fox that's inside you. And technically, I'm really not worried because not only am I powerful enough to defend myself, but I have no loyalty to this village, so they can't really arrest me over a secret to the village if I'm not even a part of it. No matter how high class of a secret it is. If I have no loyalties to said village, they can't technically arrest me. Now, can they? They could try, but that would just be showing how poorly and uncivilized people of Konoha are. And I don't think the Fire Daimyo would like that. Don't you? And Naruto's just in awe. This guy is like, holy shit. He's like, so damn cool. And Naruto's never really felt that kind of admiration for anyone before. Like, he thinks the fourth is pretty nice. Like, he's pretty cool, but like, he knows it's kind of the Hokage's job to be like that, like, be this ultimate ninja. But this guy, it just came out of nowhere, admitted he had no loyalties to, like, probably not even any village, period. And basically, basically a middle finger to the entire, like, any sort of police force that, like, Konoha had left after what happened to the Uchihas. Basically, middle finger. Like, you guys can't do jack shit because I have no loyalties to any of you. Like, what you gonna do? Basically, giant ass middle finger. Basically, the one thing that, like, any of them can do, basically, they send a message over to the Hokage. He gets over there in the Shunshin, because he feels this is a really pressing matter. Basically, he, just Shunshin's in there just enough to, like, see something that he never thought he would ever see. Someone besides any one of the people that he knows he can trust, or himself, actually being, sort of a father or mother type figure to Naruto. And the fact that he literally just scoops up Naruto and it is like has him in his arms. This guy is like mostly dressed up in white and has like black underneath. Like some black and then like white over the black. And then like the traditional ninja sandals. The base of the heroes then basically realizes he has a freaking headband, yet he was able to basically dispose of an entire angry mob, on the one day in which they're the most brazen, and pretty much, as only the Hokage could plainly say it, absolutely freaking crazy. At their most absolutely freaking craziest. So he's like, this guy must have some skill. And this one person is just like, I hear some like, actually, they're just civilians, so it wasn't really all that hard. Almost like he can tell what Harrison's thinking just from looking into his eyes. But then again, they do say eyes are the window into the soul, so Harrison doesn't think it's too far-fetched. And Harrison's basically like, what are you doing with Naruto? Who are you and what are you doing with Naruto? Basically, dude just spills it. He is mikiru Hitokiri. And basically, kind of been like a hidden guardian angel, because even though he doesn't really do anything, the one thing that he actually could say that he could be doing is doing exactly what an angel would be doing for someone, watching over them. Even though he really isn't, like, physically helping, he still is doing the one angel role of watching over. So technically he could still be considered a guardian angel. Because eventually he did kind of become a guardian by basically thrashing on those thugs on Naruto's 10th birthday. Because basically, apparently, from what he hears in consensus off this guy and what he's pretty much telling him, he knows that October 10th is Naruto's birthday. And that it's also kind of a day of mourning and even sometimes celebration for, like, angry mobs, and people even betting on angry mobs to succeed in killing the demon. And that's just something that overloads, like, mikiru's systems, being like, you call him a demon? He is the container of a demon. I know not all of you are like that, but I will not sit idly by as something like that of what the world government would do happens to this poor child, only the age of 10. I would not let it happen to any other child. I will not let it happen to this child. And it's only going to get worse. I can sense it in my bones the longer he stays here. I hate the world government. I hate people who remind me of the world government. So, I plan on remedying this problem in one foul swoop. In other words, I'm taking your Jinchuriki, whether you like it or not. And basically, Hiruzen just sees that mikiru is just, like, barely flexing his aura, and, like, some sort of, like, avatar of some sort of, like, vengeful god is, like, floating above them, like, glaring down at Hiruzen and anyone, like, in, like, eyesight reach, like, would also be an eyesight reach, like, in the gaze of Hiruzen, like, basically anyone near him. He's, like, gazing down with, like, disapproving, like, sorrowful, vengeful, like, both sorrowful but also vengeful eyes. Like, you effed up big, man. You only have yourself to blame. Yourself and that damn council you keep on letting have authority. That council, the civilian council, your stupid advisors. Basically, the Shinobi Council's freaking pancakes and whatever, but the civilian council and the freaking advisors that you had, and one of them, you were like, were supposed to take them out, but, like, you still let them in the village because you find them useful. Like, dude, what? Basically referring to Gonzo. And basically this vengeful god figure created out of Mikiru's just sheer aura, just, like, standing straight in front, like barely even 5 feet in front of the Hokage. And the Hokage's like, holy shit. If this is, like, the kid's, like, aura or something, and, basically, the Hokage had heard, like, there's another word for some sort of aura type thing, and he basically heard that it's called a type of thing called Haki, and it's the third type. And the third type is the King's Haki, also known as Conqueror's Haki. And basically, whenever he was researching Conqueror's Haki, because it actually intrigued him, Hiruzen also being known as the Professor, it would intrigue him. the power of conqueror's haki and also armament and observation, but especially conqueror's haki. And the more, like, Hiruzen begins to remember his studies on trying to figure out about conqueror's haki, the king's will, basically he begins to, realize the parallels. Basically, something to do with this kid's eyes is like channeling the power of the king's will, like conqueror's haki. It's almost like some sort of eye power, some sort of dojutsu that he has can literally fuse with conqueror's haki and create like some sort of vengeful god out from his eyes alone, barely pouring out from his body all the way into his eyes, and just from there, like, pop into existence, almost like out of nothing. And it's literally the king's will conquers haki. And, Hiruzen, being the professor, knows what conqueror's haki can do, at least from what he's read up about conqueror's haki. And basically, Hiruzen finally realizing this kid can use conqueror's haki, and from the stare that he's giving me, he knows that it's conqueror's haki. And that he probably knows about the other types, and he probably knows that he can even use those types. Like both the offensive and the defensive purposes of armament haki, and even the purposes of observation haki. Even to the extent that it can kind of mess with time. And a person like that is not a person you want to piss off. Especially, with the kind of eyes this kid has. They're more or less like emerald green eyes. Like, wait, emerald? And, Hiruzen remembers back a time around the time whenever Whirlpool was destroyed, there was another great superpower that was destroyed. A power known as, well, basically the Land of Emerald. Like, yeah. And basically, the most, like, popular, like, people there, like, the most, like, biggest amount of, like, various different kinds were that of the Hitokiri clan. And the Hitokiri clan had something special about them. The special thing about them was the thing known as the Emerald Eye. And that's whenever the Hokage begins to realize, oh shit, this guy has all the 3 different types of haki, he knows how to use them, and he has the Emerald Eye. It kind of explains what happened to that guy who was leading the charge of the angry mob. But, good God. I mean, I don't really want to fight someone like that. Because considering, like freaking Land of Fire and, like, Emerald Country were, like, right next to each other. Like, it's kind of hard for you not to know about what they could do back in the day. Around the time of, like, before the Third Shinobi World War. Because that was around the same time that World War got destroyed. They basically got destroyed around the same time. Basically, the 3 forces used to destroy Whirlpool kind of got cut in half, because half of the forces were used to destroy Whirlpool, and the other half were going to be used to destroy Emerald Country, because they were aware of the power of the Emerald Eye. And basically, this person is just like, keeps on trash talking Hiruzen, but it's almost like Hiruzen can't even hear him, half the words he's saying, because he's just like shitting himself, thinking like, I cannot say no to this kid. Like, he may not look all that old, but, yeah, maybe I should at least ask his age, considering Naruto's only 10. And basically, considering that, Mikiru's used his eyes before to, tell what Hiruzen was thinking, it basically tells him that despite what Hiruzen may believe, he's actually just around the right height for his age. It's just the more lean, mean kind of build that he goes for, usually for the kind of stuff that he tries to prepare, like jutsu and shit. It's more of a lean, mean build, so it would kind of throw people off, not really being able to tell the actual age of the person. And so Hiruzen was like, oh, that's why I thought you were younger than what you actually probably are. And mikiru probably on his head would just be like, take a yes. And basically, what I'm going to say is Hiruzen's guess is actually way off, to the point to where mikiru almost gets offended. But it's like, it's nothing to get offended by. There's been worse cases. To the point to where I actually felt I had to kill the person for being so damn stupid. You're actually way off, old man. And basically Hiruzen's like, well, then how old are you, damn it? And I'm gonna say since the channel is 5 years old, I want to go, how, I started, with the channel only being, in a baby stage, so, at the start of, the 20s, which I'm in my 20s, so at the start of the 20s is basically 20, so mikiru basically says 20. And basically, Hiruzen's like, wait, what, Nani? You're 20? You are 20! And mikiru's like, yeah, you got a problem with that, asshole? And basically, at this point, Hiruzen can kind of tell why he would call him an asshole out of nowhere. Because literally, he's basically given him every freaking reason in the book why he would call him an asshole like that. Just out of nowhere. He basically hates the guts of everyone who resides in the Hidden Leaf for how they treat Naruto. And even the people that let it happen. Without doing jack shit to help the boy. And even the people that do help him, not all of them are exactly all that nice. Like the glares that they sneak past. Mikiru is actually a lot more stealthy than some people would think. He can even sneak past the defenses of Anbu. Mikiru even admits that he could probably have killed all of Hiruzen's Anbu by now. How long he's been watching over Naruto. And basically, none of his Anbu have been able to actually freaking see him. Even in the most obvious of places. Because of just how good he is at stealth. And that's even true with the Root Anbu, because basically he has actually killed Root Anbu before just because of how much he actually hates Danzo. And Hiruzen didn't even know this. He didn't even know that he hated Danzo. Where did your hate from Danzo come from? And basically, mikiru just gives him a look like, really, man, you don't know? The fact, this kid has Kurama, basically not even trying to hide the fact that he knows, the Bichu's real name from Hiruzen. Basically telling him, the fact that the dude freaking knows that he has Kurama inside of him, Naruto has Kurama inside of him, he would try to basically use this as a way to create a super weapon for the village. And I'm not going to have that. That's something the world government would do. The freaking Tenryou Bito, the Gorosei, those assholes. And not even all the Yonko I'm okay with. And, like, Hiruzen's being hit with all these freaking damn ass freaking new terms, like Gorosei, Tenryo, Bito, Yonko. What the frick? And even once he hears this something, like, come out of Mikiru's mouth about, like, freaking Shichibukai. Like, Celestial Dragon, like, whatever the frick. And basically, the whole thing basically goes with, you know, Hiruzen really not wanting to fight this kid because literally the freaking giant ass omen of death that this kid is creating with his eyes, like with a combination of his eyes and whatever amount of conqueror's hockey that he's actually putting on. Because like several of the villagers actually do look like they're affected. Hiruzen is only isn't really affected. Well, he is, but he's only really still standing because, you know, Kage is strong. That's really the only reason why he's still conscious. Even after so much damn Conqueror's hockey that you could freaking say he's swimming in it. Like a freaking super pool. Basically, this kid, his ability of Conqueror's hockey and probably the two different other types of hockey. And God, what else, like, no, he knows how to use with the freaking hockey, like, possibly even able to, like, armor up his weapons with hockey, like armament hockey. And so basically, Hiruzen does not want to fight this guy, so he basically, like, what's your damn terms, kid? And, like, basically, Mikiru's like, may I remind you, 20. And so, yeah, basically that. Basically, with Mikiru has been holding Naruto the way he was for how long he did, like basically being twice his age. Because Naruto's 10 at this point, and Mikiru's 20 at this point. Basically, seeing as Naruto has no idea about his original Tusan, he basically just calls Mikiru new Tusan. And basically, Mikiru thinks that that's pretty cool that he has a nickname for him already, so he tries to think of something. And two words come into play, like Naruto and basically what gender he is. You know, as pertaining to his age as well. You know, he's not a man, he's a boy, so that and, well, his name. And, you know, which combination to use, like this first or this first. Basically, it's like, yes! Trying to do a finger snapping motion since I can't actually snap my fingers. Basically, just thinks of it and then says it. Naruto boy. Yeah, basically Naruto's thing for Mikiru is basically Nutu-san. And basically Mikiru's thing for Naruto is Naruto boy. And basically Mikiru even kind of lets Naruto piggyback on him a little. Because he really can't even feel it. How much damn training he does. And how hard it is. Well, at least how hard it would be on someone who was normal. This dude's a freaking member of the Heptakiri clan. the last member. Basically, keeping Mikiru's backstory the same. Basically, even the place that was sheltering him after his clan got, obliterated, Exodia obliterate this mofo. The orphanage got attacked, and whenever he was about to be killed is whenever he awakened the Emerald Eye. That was, barely whenever he was, barely even 5, so that's actually been quite a long time that he's had to train that power. To the point to where it's he is the Emerald Eye. He's so fluent with the motions and everything. And basically, Naruto, halfway across the trip, here's actually does stop them. And, basically wondering where exactly Mikiru plans to go first. Mikiru basically tells him that he doesn't really plan on staying anywhere for too long. So he's kind of a traveling guy. He knows how that can be for a child, but, considering who exactly Naruto is supposed to be, he'll probably be able to get used to it actually a lot easier than most people would probably think a child would be. And considering what Mikiru plans to do, maybe he won't be so, downtrodden on the whole aspect of a home after all. It might take a while, but, not too long of a while. Not if his, new Tusan can, do anything about it. And, Naruto just kind of giggles, because new Tusan is funny. That's what he's thinking. New Tusan is funny. But then he starts getting sad again and being like, well, he has a Tusan, or new Tusan, basically, but he doesn't have a new Kasan. And basically, Mikiru knowing about his, status with any woman he meets, basically, he's like, well, actually, from what I do know of the whole events of the Kyuubi attack, I actually know more than you guys would think. Even the gender of the freaking Biju. Not only do I know the damn thing's name, but I even know the gender. Because, you would think with the way that they're talking about that they wouldn't have genders, but they actually do. And, surprisingly, for how deep its voice is, usually, for each container, the Kyuubi no Yoko is actually supposed to be pronounced Kyuubi no Kitsu, because Kurama is a girl. Or, as you could say, a fine woman. And basically, pulling some Fuinjutsu bullshit from, what he knows from his travels, basically from some, pulling some Nami bullshit and, stealing from pirates, a little actual valuable treasure to him, at least to him that he feels is valuable, that they did have. Some of it was actually some stuff that people on the entire other side of the planet could have found valuable. And basically wondering how the hell did this get in their hands. Basically, Mikiru pulls a Nami better than Nami does. He's better at pulling a Nami than Nami. Because he gets in and out, without people even knowing that he was there. That is, unless he wants them to know. But then, usually afterwards, they either die or just get beat the frick up. And left to hang, basically, for someone to find them. eventually. At least he hopes, because if nobody does, then he did all that for nothing. Other than what he was able to find, if he was able to find anything of interest to him. And basically, from whatever he was able to find, like little ships that he did raid, because not all pirates are the most nicest of people. So it's not exactly like you would have a non-clean conscience if you were to pull some shit on some pirates. The stuff that he was able to raid from a couple pirate ships nearby. An entire armada of pirate ships, actually. He was just able to pull a Nami on each and every one. Each and every one easier than the last. And it turns out there was at least one thing in each pirate ship that was actually interesting for him to find. Though not all of them are things that he would want to share right away with just any random person. He feels that some of that shit's like some delicate information, basically. So basically, pulling a Nami on some, big old armada of pirate ships. And this wasn't any small-time pirate either. He was actually pretty big. Not Shibukai level, but he was still pretty big up there. He believes he remembers the name of the pirates. He believes that they call themselves the Rumberry Pirates. And basically their leader, some woman, basically Miss Rumberry. And he will admit that she was very athletic for a pirate out on the open sea, for her not to get, seasick. So, a surprise, but not necessarily just because it was a surprise doesn't exactly mean it was difficult. He still won with relative ease. Miss Rumberry of the Rumberry Pirates, her basically being their captain. And basically after, kicking her to the curb and apologizing profusely because, you're not supposed to be violent with women, but only really doing it under his breath because, he didn't really like wasting his time with doing things like apologizing to people who he knows do bad things. Like, this person was doing some pretty bad stuff, so why should he apologize to them? Only because they're a freaking woman? So that's basically why he was muttering his apologies under his breath. Because he really didn't feel like this person deserved it. Neither do any of the pirates that he pulls a Nami on deserve it. So basically, after kicking the ever-living shit out of Miss Rumberry, the captain, and even after apologizing, making sure she'll never have children, that is, if she's even still alive, definitely making sure she'll never have children. And, sarcastically apologizing after that. Like a flourish, sarcastic. And, well, basically after what happened there, after all of this, Basically, the one good thing that he found in the main ship, the one where Miss Rumberry was in, was actually something that was on her, pretty much her desk in her quarters. She actually had a desk, and there was something on it, concealed within a jar, and there was even a title written down. Only like half of the title, though. The only thing that was written down was "No Me." It seems that the Rumberry pirates didn't exactly know what to make of this certain, I believe, devil fruit. And basically, the Hokage is like, "What the hell is a devil fruit?" And that's basically whenever like he has to like clean the cobwebs out and like remember like, "Oh yeah, now I remember. Oh wait, they had a devil fruit. What did it look like?" Basically, mikiru just explains that the design on the devil fruit that he found, basically the swirls were like foxtails, and well, also was kind of like the design of like the thing on the top. Basically, like if you know, like the stick on pineapples, like whatever's not the stick on pineapples, the stick on an apple, whatever's supposed to be on top of a pineapple. You know the thing that's on top of the fruit. Those look like little swirl tails. So basically, and all the tails kind of look like foxtails, and they were all orange, but like the tips were a darker shade of orange than like the regular stuff. The tips on like the very last ditch part of the top were darker than everything else. And he actually believes that seeing Naruto and having a theory, considering the look of the devil fruit, actually just looking like a pineapple fruit of a fox design, like a pineapple if it was designed to be more like a fox design pineapple fruit. Basically, he gets out a slingshot. Mikiru gets out a slingshot, like a chakra slingshot, and right whenever Naruto's about to do one of his big yeah, because he's getting all excited and stuff, like hearing everything about how like his new Tucson is so badass. Basically, whenever the mouth is big enough, he's like, pull back, and just shoots the entire fruit straight in there. And Hiruzen thinks that Naruto's choking, but then, basically, Mikiru's like, have some water. And Naruto's like, thank you. And basically, only thing that really happens afterward that is Naruto gets fox claws, he gets a fox tail, and fox ears, and his eyes become a little bit more slitted, like that of a fox. And he even gets like more of heightened senses and the ability to talk to his tenant at any time, even able to change the world that his tenant lives in without breaking the seal. So basically, he just has, you could just yell, Fox power! Like freaking Mirio power! But instead of that, it was just like, Fox Power! Mirio from My Hero Academia. Power! And Hiruzen is like trying to study these like recent developments, like did the seal weaken? Basically, he realizes, wait, what the frick? The seal isn't even there. And mikiru basically like has researched this kind of development before, the possibility of this. It turns out that basically what he says is that this devil fruit, this specific one, is actually a very special case. There is actually a fusion of two different types of devil fruit, because there's three different types. Paramecia, I believe, Logia, and Zone. He believes it's a fusion of the last two types, Logia and Zone. Zone because of the appearance change, and whatever else that might bring. And Logia because of possible power-ups that we gain from this more fox-like, well, appearance and ability to be more close to his tenant without necessarily breaking the seal, because the seal is still in there on the inside, because Naruto can actually tell them that he can see it on the inside. So technically, even though it's not visible on the outside, he can still see it on the inside, and Hiruzen trusts Naruto. And basically, considering that mikiru actually does seem to know his stuff, mikiru basically tells him that it's probably only not visible on the outside because of the effect of the, devil-type devil fruit. That this isn't a normal devil fruit, this is a double-type devil fruit. One that is more than one type. Especially the two types that it's made out of, Logia and Zone. He actually named this one the Kurama no Mi Model Kitsu. Yes, Kurama no Mi Model Kitsu. Because, Fox. And basically listing off whatever he could think of that could possibly be a power that this fruit could grant. And basically also listing off what he'll have to teach Naruto in order to keep him from drowning. Water walking. But there's stuff that I'll have to teach him before that in order for water walking to become easier to grasp. And seeing as a partial part of the seal is no longer visible, that might actually be easier to do for Naruto. And plus, the fruit actually does seem to have heightened him up. So, maybe, just maybe, it could be a sign that this devil fruit may be able to mix and mingle with Naruto's tenant quite well. And then there's a scroll that falls out of mikiru's pocket. And Naruto basically just snatches it over and looks at it and basically realizes it's a summoning scroll. And basically the last, person and name on it, basically, it more or less seems like a faulty scroll because it doesn't seem like there's many people that have signed the contract. The last name on the contract being Mikiru Hitokiri. And that from, the chakra that, these new senses provide Naruto the ability to sense, it gives him the feeling that, Mikiru doesn't seem to use this contract a lot, to access beings of the Fox realm. and thinking, well, his tenant is a nine-tailed fox, and using the power of the Kurama Kurama no Mi model Kitsu, basically, he could sign the contract. And at this point, Heroes is just like, he gives up. Like, all logic and reasoning is just flown out the window. And, at first, Mikiru's like, that's probably a bad idea. Then he starts to think. Maybe what Naruto's thinking is a good idea. Because, he doesn't have really all that great experiences with women directly, but seeing as he did say that Kyuubi, Kurama, basically is indeed a woman, and, also kind of the tenant inside of Naruto, if we find a way to get, like, the Kyuubi in a way to appear alongside Naruto, this could be a way to do it without necessarily endangering anyone that doesn't need to be endangered. And so, Mikiru does allow him to do this, and basically tells him the seals, and basically that he's going to need to pour a lot of chakra into this jutsu in order to actually make it work. Because summonings are nobody's shitter. These, like, especially if you're talking about, like, what Kurama would be considered, like, a boss summon. Basically, Kurama would be considered like the Kurama, like, basically like the fox, summons, like their boss summon, would basically Kurama would be considered. And so if he wants to summon something like Kurama, or something, Kurama-ish, because of recent developments, that he would have to pour a shit ton of chakra into the summoning. And basically Naruto actually is indeed, kind of excited now that he's hearing about all this. So basically he's like he does all the hand signs, and he's like, Kuchi has no jutsu. It's like, poof. Basically, basically, to not really Mikiru's surprised because, Naruto has ginormous freaking top reserves. Well, Harrison's, like, fright, like, completely. Like, whatever happened, basically Mikiru doing that thing where he can kind of, like, tell through the expression on the face. He's basically like, well, he must have been able to pull that one half of the Nine Tails from the belly of the Reaper. It seems this one's more full than just the half of the Nine Tails. That was his tenant. And basically, the fox would look over towards him and be like, correct. I am the Kyuubi no Kitsu. And basically, Naruto would be like, well, he summoned it, so, like, it would kind of have to be in some way, like, in a pact. So basically, he just, like clings on to freaking Kurama and is like, what the? It's like freaking, Naruto was just thinking, Nukasan, Nukasan, Nukasan. And basically mikiru was just like, wow, that was fast. And basically, Kurama was just like, oh my god, I literally was only summoned here just to be this kid's freaking Nukasan. And basically, mikiru would just be like, technically, Kurama, with the fact that the Kurama no Mi model Kitsu is inside of him, like the entire damn thing. And what exactly it gives him, take a second look. You might find that you like what you see. And Kurama is just like, well, if I get the chance, then just like pushes him off, but like it's sort of like in a playful manner, because he doesn't want the kid to start crying, because that's even worse sometimes. And basically, he just takes a good look at the kid. Naruto already has the whiskers, but they seem to be more defined and a little bit longer. But he also has freaking fox ears and a foxtail, and his nails are a little bit longer and even sharper, and his canines even look to be more developed. No telling what his toenails are going to be like. That's whenever Kurama actually does indeed look down and see that the toenails have basically gone the way of the fingernails. And Kurama actually looking at Naruto in his damn kawaii ass eyes. And just taking in, seeing the whole picture, he literally starts to think, Fox Cub? That's Kurama's kind of name for Naruto. Fox Cub. Or Little Cub. It's kind of like a differentiation with, like, Kurama. Kind of a differentiation. Until he finds something that he thinks sticks. Well, she does. Find something that she thinks sticks. With the resemblance, so many resemblances to foxes, that's kind of what Kurama probably would think. Fox Cub? Little Fox Cub? Because he's only 10, so Little Fox Cub. And basically, Kurama's like a lot less like tense and like angry ass looking, and actually kind of does look like a look of sympathy, and basically, even some empathy there. Just going over to Naruto. Naruto really not really knowing what to do, but something about the devil fruit that he ate kind of gives him this ability to sense that Kurama's not going to hurt him. It's almost like the devil fruit is literally like something that like chains him to Kurama and chains Kurama to him. So basically, this is a summon that he'll always have active. And it really actually didn't take all that much chakra from Naruto, because if more than anything, the devil fruit reacted more than his chakra. So basically, with the devil fruit reacting, it actually has a different sort of thing. Kurama actually can stay out instead of having to be put back eventually. And Kurama actually finds that quite nice. It's been a long time since they've been out in the outside world. But they kind of feel, weary, like they probably shouldn't get too big. And they even realize they kind of can't get too big. They kind of can't really change shape and size like they would feel they'd be able to normally. And that's when mikiru is basically like, oh, that's probably like a penalty thing with the fruit. I think you and Naruto are kind of stuck around the same thing that me and Naruto are stuck at. They're kind of old enough as I am to be able to take care of Naruto. Yeah, so Kurama's kind of perpetually stuck in its 20s until Mikiru's age, changes. Basically, with Mikiru being the one to find the fruit, basically this fruit is so stuffed full of nature energy, it actually has a sentience of its own. Basically, Mikiru being the one to find it, and then even give it a name, and so much going on. Basically, the fruit just made its own decisions on what it wanted to happen. So basically, that's how it's happening. Kurama's age is basically changing around the same that Mikiru's age is changing, at least physical appearance-wise. Physical appearance-wise, Kurama's 20 because Mikiru's 20, and Naruto's still 10. And basically, there's even more reason for Kurama to want to call him a little fox cub. And Kurama even mentions one time because, heard talk of a certain article of clothing before. Basically, possibly get Naruto a fox onesie, or at least an orange onesie because, Kurama's orange. At least if it can't be an orange fox onesie or a fox onesie, at least get him an orange onesie because he would look adorable in one. And at least the orange would complement the fact that, Kurama is apparently supposed to be now his new Kasan. And basically, Mikiru actually thinks, maybe I could actually do that. Or maybe even do one better. An orange fox onesie and an orange fox plushie. To get him into the motions. Plus, I don't think, he's out of the age range where plushies are a problem. I don't really think that there's all that much of a problem with plushies regardless. Just as long as you don't go to the extent as Big Mom with her homies in Totland and Whole Cake Island, that shit. And basically, Kurama being like, where the hell do you expect to find that? And basically, Mikiru's like, well, we have to get there first. It's supposed to be in a place on the other side of the planet, basically where I was going to end up anyways, because before I ended up having to clean the trash here, I was going to end up going around a place called Romance Dawn. You ever heard of it, Kurama? And Kurama being like, I'm an eternal being. Of course I would have heard the other side of the world and many places there. So of course I would have heard of Romance Dawn. Just I don't really, like to fraternize with humans all that much. They barely even know that I can talk. And just to let you in on something, Kurama's like the size of a freaking German Shepherd right now. Like German Shepherd, Australian Shepherd, I think they're around the same size. So Kurama's around that size right now. Starting out. So basically, Kurama's like, so that's where you plan to find this stuff? And basically, Mikiru's like, even better. I already thought about it, so I think I know just the person to hit up over there in Romance Dawn. And Romance Dawn, if I remember correctly, is in the East Blue. And considering where we are positioned, being in the Land of Fire currently, The East Blue shouldn't be too far away. We'll just have to make some swerves. Hopefully, our little Naruto boy, or in your case, little fox cub, won't get seasick on the way. And basically, here's him finally out of his trance, being like, wait, wouldn't you need a ship in order to traverse waters like that? Like, go from one side of the world to the other? Like, I'm not stupid. I know that you would need that. And plus, you would need food and other type of supplies. And mikiru is about to hit, like, here's an over the head for, like, stating the obvious that he already knows, basically. And, like, he's like, I already freaking know that, you dumbass. Don't worry. I already have myself quite the vessel. It's in this storage scroll right here. And, like, here's like, you kept your ship in a storage scroll. For how long? And mikiru is just like, however long I need to do. Anyways, let's get over to the border of this place that we can set sail. Basically, here's it's just like, just curious, what's the name of your vessel? And basically, mikiru actually states that the name of the vessel in particular is called the trump card. Basically, he's pretty much been sailing around the waters, doing his whole pulling a Nami on every single freaking pirate armada he can find. Or just pirate ships in general. With this little vessel in tow. Basically being his way of traversing the waters. The red line, the green line, whatever he wants to traverse. Basically, this vessel itself has been perfectly tailored to be the ultimate defense out in the open seas. The trump card. And basically, the Jolly Roger, the skull-like thing on the flag, the main flag. The Jolly Roger of the trump card is basically normal skull and crossbones, but it's in the way of like the happy and sad faces, whenever you like go to opera or like a play. and there's like a thing like up like on the top of the ceiling, like or like close to the top, where like you see the two masks, like happy and sad. It's basically the Jolly Roger is actually two skulls, and they're in the pose and even in like the facial expression of the happy and sad masks. It's two skulls, and they're in that position. Well, facial expression wise. It's basically the Jolly Roger of the Trump card, which is the actual ship that mikiru has been using to do what he's been doing. You know, for how long he doesn't really know. He hasn't really been keeping track of time. Because to him, really, time is just another useless something that people throw out just to distract from the real important stuff. And basically, Kurama's like, well, little fox cub, come on, look at the tails. And Naruto's old enough to be able to get the hint. Follow the tails. And basically, Kurama's tails eventually, whenever it gets close enough to water, Naruto having eaten a devil fruit, and Kurama kind of getting the hint on that. Basically, lifting him up around the time where he hits the docks, so that he doesn't, freaking plunge into the water and drown. Basically, lifting him up onto Kurama's back, and Kurama not really feeling bothered because it's still all powerful no matter what shape or size. Or at least not all powerful. And basically, Hiruzen just realized that Naruto is being taken by his tenant, and basically the person who agreed to sort of be partners with his tenant. In their basically giant-ass ship, you just realize how damn big the damn thing is, how big the trump card is. And he does indeed realize that whenever he said that the Jolly Roger of the ship looked like the happy and sad faces that you would usually find in those specific areas, only in, like, Jolly Roger form, he meant it. Like, they look exactly like that. Like, if, like, you could do the happy and sad mask, but have them in the form of a Jolly Roger, basically, skulls, like, in the form of the Jolly Roger, for both happy and sad, that would be the Jolly Roger of the trump card. And, the ship is freaking huge, so no wonder he would be fine with having Naruto on there, plus Kurama. He could probably accommodate a lot of people in there. With the size of the damn thing. And how, like, invincible it looks. And so basically, all the other sails are, like, popped out, like, poof, poof, poof. Basically, allowing for set sail, like, we're moving. Basically, he's mastering the wheel right now, so he's just gonna let, Naruto and Kurama do some, tenant and, person who's not the tenant bonding. Kurama and her little fox cub. Because Naruto still has the appearance of close to a fox. Even though he's not full-on fox, he still looks pretty damn kawaii. Kurama has to admit, still looks pretty damn kawaii. And, mikiru even admits, to Kurama that they'll probably both have to be teaching Naruto how to defend himself, considering that he just left a village that could have given him some curriculum on how to teach himself. And that at this point, he probably would have barely learned anything from the academy, seeing that it's only been like 2 years, because like 8, 9, 10, like 8 is just like the beginnings, so not really anything is all that much learned there, so he probably barely just learned anything beyond jutsu theory. And with his abysmal chakra control, probably the only thing that will be ultimately reliable for Naruto right now is, well, his devil fruit. Which basically, Kurama basically gets told by Mikiru, basically that he wants to be there whenever, Naruto shows off his devil fruit powers to, like, Kurama, because he wants to, being basically his new Tusan, and, new Kasan there as well, that being Kurama, he wants to be there as well to see, like, the development with these devil fruit powers of what is now dubbed the Kurama Kurama no Mi model Kitsu, seeing as Kurama's a girl. And basically even telling Kurama about the fact that if Naruto were to die, the Kurama Kurama no Mi model Kitsu would basically just appear somewhere else and, for someone else to eat it. And Kurama's like, well, doesn't really trust other people with its power. So defensive about Naruto that not even trusting other people with that kind of power, not just for the reasons of, like, pride or anything like that, but, just that, like, overprotective towards Naruto. And the possibility that he could die kind of being a downer on Kurama's mood. And, mikiru just like, oh, just putting the possibility in there just, just in case. Like, basically just so that they don't get soft. Making sure that everybody's, like, that there's no dull blades whenever it comes to this little makeshift crew. And basically, whenever Kurama's, like, tilts her head, like, huh? What do you mean makeshift crew? And basically, mikiru's like, don't you get it? My beloved friend, foxy friend of mine? Why else would I have this butte here, the trump card, with the Jolly Roger of happy and sad? Why else? Well, I'll tell you why. The Emerald Eye Pirates. Not like any other pirate gang. We're going to right the wrongs of other pirates. We're gonna fix these waters, and we are gonna love it. I can tell you that. Though Naruto needs some training before he can truly call himself a member of the Emerald Eye Pirates. As for now, he's just a little fox cub. And, there's, like, he just holds out this picture of Naruto holding a little fox plushie in his little fox onesie. And it's orange. And the fox plushie is orange. And Kurama's just like, oh, so damn kawaii. Okay, fine. We'll do it. And, mikiru's just like, knew that would work. Okay, then, officially, we are the Emerald Eye Pirates, and this ship of ours, she be the trump card with the Jolly Roger of happy and sad. What a beautiful vessel she is. With this one here, we will be able to go throughout these waters, no prob. Oh, and before I forget, just through all this scroll here, I believe you would know what this is, at least, You should know, I think. And Crumb was like, I think I've seen it before. I think I've heard of it being mentioned before. This is needed to be able to cross the Grand Line. The New World. Log posts. And, mikiru would just be like, ding, ding, ding. And she's right. Log pose indeed. So I usually go with my gut whenever it comes to these things. I always like to make sure and check. So I thought, along with getting a onesie and the plushie, I would also help something that would basically get something that would help us in the long run. A wonderful, beautiful log post she is, but not nearly wonderful and as beautiful as certain Kurama. And Kurama is just like, oh, now you're just being a flirter, you human. And basically, mikiru just gives Kurama the puppy dog eyes, and Kurama's like, how can you even do that? You're like in your 20s. Like, how do you do that? You're so damn kawaii. The only one more kawaii than you was supposed to be our freaking adopted son. I guess we kind of are pirates. We kind of just stole Naruto up from the village. The sand ain't really not doing anything to stop you. Or me. And mikiru just being like, well, that was later on. But, whatever. Let's think of it here and now. We have myself and my most adorable Kitsu ally, Kurama, and our most adorable adopted son. Not quite ready yet, but not exactly like we can't put him through the correct training that would allow him to be ready soon enough, to assist us in becoming part of our group, part of the Emerald Eye Pirates. Pirates that board the trump card with the Jolly Roger of happy and sad. I guess our journey truly does start now. Deuces.